Hello everyone. If you're watching this video, I assume you're just starting out. I recommend every beginner starts learning with a thicker worsted weight yarn or medium weight yarn, something that is acrylic or cotton and light in color. You don't want to be using a dark blue or black. It's going to make the stitches very hard to see. Using a fluffier yarn like these two, as pretty as they are, it is super hard to see the stitches. It's even hard for advanced crocheters. And same with something fun like these. It's obviously just going to make it harder, and if you're a beginner, you want to make it as easy as possible so you can learn as quick as possible and move on to the fun things. I would also recommend starting with at least a 5mm hook, if not something even larger. I'm going to go over every step nice and slowly, but the first thing you need to know is that the end of your yarn is called a tail, and it will always begin on your right, and everything on this side connecting to your ball is called your working yarn. The super fast and quick instructions are to make a loop around your finger, bring the tail to the back of your loop, and push that tail through, grab it, pull your working yarn nice and tight, and then you would insert your hook, hold your working yarn in your left hand, grab the yarn, and pull it through the loop on your hook. That is the super fast version, but I'm going to break down every step nice and slowly for you now. You're going to begin by facing your left palm towards you, and you're going to lift your index finger up and away from your middle ring and pinky finger. And now take your tail with your right hand, hold it up in the air, and drape your working yarn over these three fingers. Next, you're going to take your thumb and lightly pinch the yarn to the center of your middle finger, and you want to have several inches of your tail free. And your index finger is going to still be up in the air. And now take your ring finger and your pinky and lightly hold your working yarn against your palm. So that way nothing is able to move. Now you're going to take your tail and wrap it lightly around your finger. You're going to go up over the top of it and then wrap it around until it meets again. And so my tail is on top of my working yarn and hanging behind my finger. If we look at it from the top, we can see that it's making a little X. And now we want to slide our finger out, and so we're going to very gently, with our right hand, slide it off, while at the same time pinching the loop and your working yarn, keeping everything in place. And so now we have a little loop. It kind of looks like an upside down ribbon. Our tail is on top of our working yarn in this loop. And so with your left hand, hold the side of this loop and your working yarn, keeping everything in place. And as you can see, the tail is naturally going towards the back. And if we tuck it fully in the back, now we have a little circle that is being cut in half with our tail. And so now we're going to finish making our slip knot. You can do this two ways. You can hold each side of this circle and use your finger to push that loop through the circle, taking your right hand to pinch it, and then hold your loop and pull your working yarn to make a nice little knot. Or, once our yarn is there in the back again, you can take your hook and go through the circle to grab the yarn and pull it through. Again, holding on to the tail and the working yarn to keep a nice tension. Now, if you didn't use your hook to pull the circle through, go ahead and grab your hook, insert it into your slip knot, hold your hook and your tail with your right hand, and pull the working yarn to tighten the knot against your hook. You don't want it to be super duper tight, but you don't want it to be super loose on your hook either. You want it to be tight enough to comfortably move around your hook. You want it to glide easily. To begin chaining, you first need to know how to hold your working yarn. Face your palm towards you again and hold your hook up in the air with your working yarn resting against your fingers. Now take your index finger and move it to the front of the yarn. So now we have the working yarn against our bottom three fingers, and it is behind our index finger. And now you're going to take your hook and bring it up and over your index finger. And you're going to take your ring finger and your pinky to pinch that yarn very lightly against your palm. And you're going to take your middle finger and your thumb, and you're going to lightly pinch this knot right below the loop on our hook. And you're going to keep this index finger pointed out. And so it's almost like you're making a snap with your index finger up over those, behind your index, over your index, pinch with your middle and thumb, index finger up in the air. And so the index finger is holding our working yarn nice and taut, and these fingers are also helping to keep that tension. And so currently we have our slip knot on the hook, and our working yarn should be behind our hook, how we're holding it right now. And now let's begin chaining. You're going to take your hook and you're going to loop the yarn over your hook. And so now the working yarn is closer to us than the hook. And then you're just going to slide the hook down and go through the loop on our hook. Loop over your hook, slide down to the slip knot, and bring it through the hole. And so now we have one chain and we still have a loop on our hook, and you're just going to repeat that. You're going to yarn over is what it's called, because the yarn is going over our hook, and then you're just going to slide down and go through the chain. And you're just going to keep repeating this to practice your chaining. You want to focus on keeping an even tension and make sure that all of your chains are the same size. You don't want the loop on your hook that you're pulling through to be so tight that you're struggling to get your hook through it. And that comes from keeping this super, super tight. This finger is going to control the size of the loop on your hook. And so you want it to be tight, but not too tight, because then also if you have it too loose, you're going to make your chains really big. And so you don't want to be pulling it and making it really big and loose. And so just keep practicing, keeping a nice even tension. And every few chains, you're going to want to take your middle finger and your thumb and come back up closer to the hook to help keep that tension. And when you are yarning over, it's a mix of using both your hook and your finger to make that yarn over. Just loop it around and pull it through. Put around and pull it through. You might find yourself wanting to pull it and make that really tight. Try to avoid doing that. Let your hook make the size of your loop. Don't give an extra tug afterwards to tighten it. It's going to make it harder for you to work into once you move on to the next step of making a single crochet or a double crochet. And if you want a fun little project to show at the end of this, then you can try making 2 chains that are each around 45 to 50 inches long, and you can make a pair of cute little shoelaces. Thanks so much for watching this tutorial. I hope that I was able to help you. Let me know down in the comments if you have any questions or problems that you're facing, and I'll try my best to help you out. Have fun on your crochet journey. Bye!